Welcome to episode 3 of the Tiny Word Project. Today, we speak with our good friend, Abi Khan.
In this episode, Abi talks about coming to Australia, playing rugby league, deciding to follow his passion of personal training and acting, and where he wants to be in the future.
Abi's word that he chose for the podcast was fun. Stay tuned and listen why he chose that word. Enjoy. Yo, Abi, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. How are you today, my friend?
I'm really well, thank you very much, boys. I'm honoured deeply for you boys wanting to chat with me.
Great start.
Great start. Sorry, I thought it cut out there for a second. No, yeah, welcome. You're the second guest on the Tiny Word Project podcast, where we're all about inspirational stories and how sexy you are and all that type of shit. So,
but we're just getting people on who get their haircut by us to showcase our work. Yeah, it's not even about the words, it's about the haircut.
Yeah.
That fade's pretty tight, bro.
It is quite tight.
You know what? It's tight so you cut it blindfolded.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Oh, and I tell you what, that video is coming out tonight, the 2nd of April. By the time this comes up, this is probably a week later. So go back into our social media and check that out.
On the private studio.
Instagram, sorry,
YouTube.
We're still getting it. Anyway, enough about us. Back to you, bro. How is currently we're in quarantine for this coronavirus, and this is a bit of a hot topic at the moment. How are you coping anyway, man?
I'm fine. Look, I'm one of those people where I will. There's an old quote by Charles Darwin. I'll start with a little bit of philosophy for you gentlemen. It says, oh crap! I've just completely forgot it now. It's not the strongest of species that survives, nor is it the smartest or the cleverest. It is the ones that are the most adaptable to change, or something along those sort of lines. But that's pretty much what I do in life in general. So, quarantine happens, cool, let's just deal with it, we adapt. Zombie apocalypse happens, cool, let's just adapt. Because end of the day, a lot of these things are out of our control, with the government sort of making the big decisions. We can't control that at all. But what we can control is how we choose to respond to it.
Yeah, that's fantastic, isn't it? I guess that's what we've done as well. Starting this brand out of, I guess we were backed into a little bit of a corner, and having this on the back burner for so long, we've decided to do it ourselves, is that we started to, I guess, just adapt and still keeping busy with doing this project and this brand and building this up in this time, especially because we had to close the barbershop. But you being a personal trainer as well, as some people may not know already, Abi is a personal trainer. How has this affected you with your work there?
Yeah, so really hard, actually. It sort of didn't even progressively, start to sort of teeter off or anything. It just happened at once. It was like a decision of, boom, gyms are all closed. So it was almost messaging all my clients like in that second. I think it was like 11:30 on Monday, the 23rd of March, something around then. And it was a case of the companies I work for letting me know, saying, hey, look, gym's closed, like we're sort of done. So I had to relay that message to all clients and go, hey, look, this is the sort of current situation. Gyms are closed. We can't train anymore. I guess the initial process for most people was like, we can still train outside, which is what a few people sort of did. And then there was another legislation who sort of came out saying, okay, you can, but you're not allowed more than, 10 people, 1.5 meters apart. Everyone's got allowed 4 square meters each, some crap like that. And then again, something else came out saying, cool, now it's only one-on-one. So it just keeps sort of getting more and more and more difficult. Especially for PTs, and aside from going outside, it's more online. Now, online's still a really good option. I was already doing a lot of online training anyway, but at the same time, these people don't have access to gyms, so it's quite difficult to say to people, hey, look, we're going to keep going, but we're going to do an online program. Now they're paying, they could be paying quite decent amounts of money for that online program. But if you're like, hey, but we're only going to use home workouts. Now, does that seem fair enough to say you've got to pay X amount for these gym programs, but now you're going to spend the same amount on doing a home body weight workout,
Yeah.
That's where it's sort of difficult, where you've got to go, cool, I've got to try and cut prices a little bit, just try and stay alive, I guess is the sort of thing right now.
And I guess that comes back to what you were saying at the start, adapting and being able to adapt with the current situation. Yeah.
No, that's not right. I think that's all we can all do is in times like this is go, cool, I get all the crap that's going on, but what can we actually do? And I think if you just focus on what you can do, regardless if whatever's going on is going on or just a normal day, what can you actually do in this time? What action can you take? And just do that.
Did you find that most of your clients were pretty on board with sort of hopping online and trying to, because obviously a lot of people are like confined to being at home now. Did you find that a lot of those people were pretty on board with those changes and like the different things that you did to adapt, or have people sort of stepped back away from training, or do you know what most people are sort of doing?
No, good project. It's a bit of a mix. I genuinely thought everyone was going, because everyone at that time was going really well. Like results were coming, everyone was really happy with the service and their results. But when this sort of came about, some people took the option of like, okay, I'm going to stop now, which is quite strange. Why I get where they're coming from, because people lost jobs and things like that. But some people have also gone, cool, I want to keep going. What can we actually sort of do here? So it's sort of been about 50-50 of people wanting to continue and do what they can. And then the other half people sort of saying, I don't really want to do a home workout. I don't want to do a home workout. You know what I'm saying? If you watch me do a workout, I am horrible. I've not done a bodyweight workout ever in my life. I did one. The first one was last week in my entire life. And that was for Gymshark hosting a live workout. That's the first one I've ever done in my entire life. It's not something I love, but again, what can we do in this situation is look for things we can actually apply and take action towards.
Yeah, that's cool. As of course some people may already know you. If they don't, I know that you've got your PT passion, your fitness passion as well, but you've also got another passion, and that passion is something that I back you 100%. Acting. How's that come all about? When did you want to become an actor?
The strangest thing was, so my sort of background growing up in the United Kingdom, playing professional rugby league. Over there, that was the path. I was 7 years old. I was like, I want to be that's when I first went to my first rugby league training session. I was like, I want to be a professional rugby league player. That was the dream. And I achieved that. I was on the sort of cusp of nothing would have stopped me from, playing in the UK Super League or even potentially representing Great Britain or anything like that, unless I'd have got an injury. Because at that time I was very good, or good enough at least to sign a professional contract, right? But I took a gap year when I was 19, put a contract essentially on hold to come and play out here in Australia to basically test myself against the Australians. As growing up, they were always the people that we admired, just for being just far more athletic, far more skillful, talented. I was like, cool, if I want to make it, I want to sort of test myself against the best. So that's why I came out here. My agent got in contact with the coach out here, did a gap year playing, and just fell in love with the place. And acting was never even, a thought in my mind. And me and the two mates that I came over with, when we came over here, we did some extras work on Home and Away. So the first thing that I sort of did was on Home and Away. Just in the background, the funny thing was I had to play a surfer. Now, I can't swim. So they were like, go jump in the ocean. Weren't you coming out? I went, okay, cool. I went, but I can't actually swim. So can I go in just to like my chest height? And they were like, yeah, cool. And it was weird because even just from that moment, as you guys have probably experienced yourself, is life starts to throw you things that correlate with your passion. Even though you don't necessarily know what your passion is, you look around and a lot of those ideas are already there. So all these ideas for stories started coming into my mind. I found myself watching more movies and actually getting really interested in what the character was doing and the story and things like that. And then I just started writing scripts. I've got no idea how to write a script, but I just found myself doing it, just really, really enjoying it. And then over time, I just started to get more and more and more of a passion for the creative arts and more sort of respect and stuff for for actors in general, and doing a few little masterclasses and things like that along the way was just sort of solidified the passion of like, this is what I sort of want to do. This is not even this is what I want to do. This is what I have to do. You know?
Yeah, that's cool, man.
And did you feel like saying, as you were saying, it wasn't something that you'd always grown up wanting to do? Did you find that, I think that acting in particular is one of those things that a lot of people may be interested in, but are sort of worried about how other people might react to that, or that the fact that they always hear that it's so hard to get into, or it's a very hard, like, competitive industry, or they're worrying about what other people think of them. Did you find that once you actually sort of fit into it, that it was a lot easier than you expected, or a lot harder, or it just clicked, or it felt right? Or was it something that still took a bit of time to, like, really get used to?
Yeah, I think what we want to do in life innately is already almost there always, like whether we're aware of it or not. I think we gravitate a lot to it when we're sort of growing up as kids. And it might not be the direct thing, like as in acting, but I know even as a kid, I loved like entertaining, you know, like I remember when I first signed professionally, we, at 16, we got brought on to, so like before the main game sort of goes on, there's, you know, there's the entertainment and all that sort of stuff. There's a band playing, I was a musician, you know, an artist like playing, and we got brought on and introduced as like the new kids on the block sort of thing. You know, these are the guys you need to watch out for in the next few years, are going to be hitting the big sort of stage. I remember all the team running on one at a time, and, you know, yell your name over the Tano system. And there's 10, I think there was like 25, 30,000 people at that particular game. It was a pretty big game. And I remember when I ran on, I don't even know why I did this, to scream my name, and I heard this big yell, and I just started like just clapping my hands and just try to get the crowd involved. And literally the entire 25, 30,000 people just started clapping with me. It was like the coolest sort of thing. And I don't know why the fuck I did it, you know, but I think innately, like, there's always something there that when you're going to what you're sort of meant to do, whether it's creativity, whether it's, you know, a physical attribute, whether you're meant to be an athlete or a coach, something of that nature. So it was really strange, because when I decided to be an actor, and even when I told my family and stuff like that, it wasn't a case of you can't do that. It was just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. You know, like that was the answer to everyone. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like that's probably what you should do. Because it just almost seemed quite natural. So it's the most challenging, it's the most competitive industry in the world by quite a long shot. Second, only like music second, but acting, everybody wants to be an actor. Yeah. And I think, as I said there, Jay, so many people sort of fall off. I think, as with anything, people will not pursue it because it's so competitive. And for me, if that's the reason you're not pursuing it, that's probably not what you're most passionate about. Yeah. Look at like how many things are challenging now in the creative world, such as you guys podcasting. Like this is a perfect example. Everybody wants to do a podcast. Just because it's challenging doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Yeah, I know for acting, it's that fulfillment that I'm sort of chasing, that I want to tell stories. I want to tell really cool, epic stories, and that's what I want. Whether I earn $1 or $1 million, it really doesn't matter. I'm not that bothered about it. You know, money's not once come into play, and that's why I sort of want to really take it seriously again, acting coaching, and making sure I'm doing it the way that I believe is the right way, because I want to do this when I'm 80 years old. You know, I don't want to do it for the next 10 years. I want to do it for the rest of my life. So I'm more than happy to be patient, because it is about, I guess, playing the long game.
Yeah. I mean, it goes to show, like, I think that's the hardest thing a lot of people find is, like, really, like, people either don't know what their passion is explicitly, or they know what it is, but they think it's too hard to get to that. And I know that, like, personally, I always loved creating art, for example, and I wanted to work in an industry that wasn't too strict, or I didn't want, like, sitting in an office would drive me insane. So there's a lot of things that I wanted to do, and like barbering, for example, is one of those things, but I had no clue where to start, and I kept putting it off and off and off, and tried all these other different things that I had convinced myself I wanted to do. But then once I started, I was miserable, and I kept, every time I was thinking about what I wanted to do, it was always cutting hair, being creative, doing all those things. And like once I actually got into it, it was like a night and day difference between feeling like I was forced to work a job that I didn't want to do and actually doing something I really enjoyed. And I think a lot of people struggle to find that and really go after it regardless. Because for me, I was the same. It wasn't a matter of how much money I was going to make or how popular or famous I was going to be or whatever it was. It was just like, that's what I wanted to do. And I always just spent time thinking about what it was I wanted to do rather than what I was doing at the time. So I think a lot of people can sort of either relate themselves or are trying to follow that same path of like really running with a passion. Because I can tell you, and I'm sure you're much the same, like once you're in something once you're doing your passion and it's paying the bills and you get to get up every day and do it, it's like there's no better feeling than being happy with what you're doing. So really.
And I think a lot of people, like it doesn't matter. I think so many people put it off because they're trying to find the perfect thing. Like, I know what I want, but I need to find the perfect thing. Like, sorry, there's a fly buzzing around. That's why I keep doing this.
Get it.
It's really annoying. It's okay to try things. It's okay to change your mind. For the longest time, professional rugby league, that's what I wanted. Then I changed my mind. I was like, cool, I want to do this. I wanted to be a PT and own my own sort of gym chain type thing for a long time. I was like, cool, I'm going to do that. I want to be a YouTuber. Cool, I'll do that. Like, it's okay to change your mind. Like, that's the whole point of it. The whole point of the journey of life is trying to figure out, what brings you fulfillment, what you're actually passionate about. Yeah. And some people never find it, but it's not just going to come and hit you in the face,
sometimes, sorry to cut you off there, but sometimes it's actually the pursuit of finding that thing is the thing that makes you happy.
Exactly.
That's generally it's always that token. The journey is more meaningful than the actual destination.
100%, yeah.
And sorry to cut you off so abruptly, but we are on 4% on this computer and I'm stressing out. But what we're going to do, I didn't want to cut you off so abruptly. We've got so much to discuss with you still. We're still very young, still very fresh. So what we're going to do a part 2 with you in a couple of weeks. We've already given so much, and thank you so much for sharing as well. But let's close off this podcast before it freaking does shut down and we just cut off completely. It'd be stressful. What is one word, as we're the premise of around, like the Tiny Word Project is all about that small word that can have an impact in someone's life for the better. So what is one word that inspires you or can inspire someone else to have an impact on their life for the better, and why?
Wow, that's such a tough one. For me, like right in this moment, the word that I would choose would be fun. And fun can quite easily correlate to happiness, to joy, to fulfillment, to passion, to purpose. But for me, if I'm not having fun doing something, whether it's a job or a task or hanging out with people, for too long, if I'm not having fun, I will just take myself out of that situation because we've only got a very finite amount of time on this earth. So I guess when I sort of say fun, it's almost like if I'm trying to describe it, it's a moment in which time doesn't exist. So regardless if it's fun or happiness, when you're with your daughter Nick and Jake, whatever you're doing, whatever you love, barbering or whatever hobby you don't care about time. I'm saying, oh yeah, just sat at home, in your basement. Whatever that's going to sort of be, that moment in which time doesn't exist, where you could just almost do forever. That's what it's sort of about, and fun sort of captivates that for me. But that could quite easily be any of those other words.
Yeah, definitely.
That's sick. Thank you so much, Abby.
Very inspiring.
Very inspiring.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Motivated. Very grateful.
As we've said before, Abby is going to be on another podcast. If you guys have any specific questions about Abby's journey or him as a person, feel free to comment below on this video, and then next time we can definitely ask him those sort of things.
Yeah. Or send us a message if you're a listener through Spotify or the iTunes, just podcast listeners. But yeah, thank you so much, Abby. We'll speak to you very soon, sir.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Cheers, bro.
Thanks, bro.